Okay, so let's cover this real quick. Is this is just how I handle the updates um, for my character stats as well as my enemy roster, and then I'll also show the party screen here. But first, we're going to start on our battle scene. I have this running Monk's active tile triggers, I think it's called. And it's pretty simple for that portion of it. It's just the I don't know why this isn't there we go. I just have it set to activate when I hover in, hover out. And I believe this is on combat start. Um, the specifics of when it triggers doesn't really matter. That's just how we're going to kick it off. Because the actions are it's going to run the script, run our macro. I have that set here. Nope, here. Battle status drawing. And we'll cover the details of that shortly. Then it's going to wait 5 seconds, and then it just re-triggers this tile. So I've got that in a constant loop. If I ever need to stop it, I can always come over here, select it, right click, and just disable the active state. That will stop it from running. The script will stop running. If there's something going wrong and I need to troubleshoot it, that's how you do it. Once it's active, you can then start it by moving to the using whatever trigger you set, or if you want, you can just manually trigger the action, and that'll get it going. Once we have it going, it's going to run this script, which is pretty straightforward. It took me a bit to figure out some of the specific details, like how I get the actual updates to work, but it is, I feel like I've got it in a fairly readable state. So first, we're getting a collection that we're just calling PCs. And within that collection, we're going to get sub collections. And these, I call them collections. They're just arrays. We got an array with sub arrays where index 0 is going to be getting our actor. And we get that using game.actors.get and the ID copied from the actor here. We're going to do the same thing with each of the drawings. So go to the drawings layer, double click the name, and we're just going to copy that drawing ID, and that goes in there. We're going to get that for the character name, HP, MP, and IP, current and max values. And we'll do that again for each character that we have on the list. You can expand this for more than 4 or contract it for less than 4. Whatever your needs are, you just adjust this here. Then for each item in our big array, we're going to run the update attributes function. The update attributes function takes this character, which is going to be this array. So for this character index of 1, that's going to be the name drawing. We're going to update the drawing's text attribute to equal the character index of 0's name. All that means is we're just going to say the text of this label or this drawing will change to the name of this actor. Same thing with the HP and MP and all of that. We're going to say this drawing's text is going to be updated to match the current HP of the actor, so on. At the end, we await the promise to kind of finalize our results, and that will update all of the characters all at once. So we can open up Ash here. Let's lower his HP to 30. It's important you tab out or move out of that box so that it actually updates the attribute on the character. That way it will reflect here, because if you don't, if you just stay in it, it's never going to change because the actual value hasn't changed yet till you lock it in. There we go. And I have it set on that delay, but if I want to, I can manually trigger it by using whatever my activation is. So in this case, I hover in and it does that. There we go. You can change the delay on it if you want it to update more often. I think 5 seconds is plenty. It's already constantly running in the background. So I just keep it on a 5 second just for concern of performance. But it's JavaScript. You're probably going to be fine. It's not a particularly heavy code or anything like that. We do something similar with the update script for our roster. when I run it, you're going to see the details here are going to flash. That's because first we're going to hide all of the drawings. You probably could rewrite this so that it's not hiding them all first. First, it's going to do the updates and then determine which ones need to be active. This is just how I set it up, and I may change it later. But when I click it, it's just going to flicker like that. And that's the reason I don't have it running constantly. I just don't want it to be flickering on the PC side or the player side. So first, we're going to get a collection of enemy tokens. That's just going to look for all the tokens on the scene that have their disposition set to -1, which means hostile. So it's important that you have your player characters set up to anything other than hostile. I'm using friendly because obviously that makes sense, but whatever you want. We're going to create a blank array for our roster. This is what our final roster. And then we're going to get our enemy drawing details, much like we did with our player characters. We're just getting the name and the count for the IDs for each of these. And I have 4 in here because I don't anticipate I'm ever going to have more than 4 unique enemies. It's important to note that this is for unique enemy names. It's not for individual enemies. I could take, this, if I can copy it. Okay, maybe I can't. Let's just drag them here from our NPCs. I can take this Tantalus Bandit here, and I can put a bunch of them on here. I have 5 of them, but it's only going to have 1 entry for each unique enemy name. And it's just going to update the count there. So if you want to, you can expand that. I just limit myself to 4. As I said before, we're going to hide all the drawings first. That's what that flicker is there. Then again, similar to the players, we're going to run the collect roster function for each entry in the enemy tokens, which is just going to run on each individual token. When we do run that function, we're going to assign the token to the this token variable. We're going to say our index I variable is going to be the index of this token name. All that means is I'm searching for the token's name in our roster. If it shows up, that's the position of it will be assigned to I. If it does not show up, then it will be assigned to -1. If it is assigned to -1, we're just going to set it to the length of our roster. So, if we get our second one, when we get to Tantalus Bandit, it's going to say, hey, we don't see that yet. So go ahead and assign it to the length, which is index of 1 in this case. It's the second entry. And then we will update the roster at that index to match that name. All this is doing is just getting us our list of enemy names. Then we're going to, once we've run that function on each token, we're going to then run another loop, just a for loop that's going to do the actual text updates. We're going to update first our enemy name drawing, the text of that to equal the roster at that index. And then we're going to update the one at the next one for the enemy count, which is just going to filter through enemy tokens, find them where they equal that name, and get the length, which is going to equal our count of it. In both cases, we're going to set them to visible. We're changing our hidden attribute to false. And then it's going to finalize the result. In our party menu, we're going to have something similar to what we have for our character attributes. It's actually going to be very similar to that. We're just getting, instead of just these values, we're adding level, class name, and quote. And that's because of the character sheet I'm using, which I can't remember who specifically, but it is someone in the Discord. I can't remember their name, and I apologize. I really need to credit them, but this one has the level, a custom class name, and then their quote. So I just grabbed those details, and we're going to display them here on this party menu. This will probably be what loads up every time a new session starts. Same thing, we're getting our collection of characters and their drawing details. We're going to run the update attributes function, which we define below. We're going to assign all the values. This one is a little different because if they don't have a class entered, for example, Gil has not made his character yet. He doesn't have a class. So we just want to hide that and just not show that on their end. We do need to scrub HTML from the quote because, again, the way the character sheet is set up, it's got this. It's formatted. I really need to update the text color on that. So we're just scrubbing it for some HTML, and then we'll update the actual quote once we have that, and then the final update there. So I'll share these in the description, all three scripts. But what it actually looks like on the player end. So we'll come over here. I'll move this off screen. On the battle scene here, I'll update Ash's details, and you'll see the. I'll update Ash's details on the other one, and you should be able to see the HP is going to drop down to 30 again, and then back up to 50. And then I'll delete a couple of these enemies. And we'll run that update script. Bam. So, not super complicated. And like I said, the Monk's active tiles part of it is not the most complicated one, but it is pretty effective. I'm noticing, or I'm finding, I should say. I have, like I said, I have not run this in an actual game, so no promises on performance. But pretty neat if this is something you want to have set up.